Thanks for joining us today. This is Ski Talk with Tim and Tony. That's Tim over there. I'm Tony. How you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing good, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing fine. We're going to talk about Tim went skiing to Mammoth a couple of weeks ago, and he did something he hasn't done in a long time. So he took a ski lesson. So Tim's been skiing for 50 plus years, so he knows how to ski. So I want to know, what made you take a ski lesson?
Just so a little bit of frustration with steep runs and controlling my speed. I think I'm too used to following you and trying to keep up with you. And I see these people going down, these steep slopes, and they're fully under control. They're just sort of very moderated, and when I'm going down, I feel like I can't control my speed. So I wanted to figure that out.
Did you take a private lesson or was it a group lesson?
It was a private lesson. So they have Mammoth has a deal where they charge you like, I don't know, $120 or something for an hour. And then um I went ahead and signed on with that, started it out, and we got about halfway into the lesson, and then the instructor was like, "Well, let me check and see if I'm available for the next couple hours, and what we would charge you for 2 more hours." And so I ended up doing 3 hours with her, and it was excellent. It was really good.
What did you learn? How did it help you?
There were just, I mean, look, I've been skiing so long, and just basically getting out there and skiing and not really knowing technically, what I should be doing, just figuring, well, I know what I should be doing. And one of the first things that they focused on was weight distribution. How much of your weight should be on each ski when? And she asked me, what do you think your weight distribution is? And in my mind, I was thinking, it's probably shooting for 50-50, and I felt like, well, maybe it's 60-40. Any guess? What do you think your weight distribution ought to be?
I have no idea because I've never taken a ski lesson.
so so in during your turn, 90 to 95% of your weight should be on your downhill ski. And so what they did was, she had me doing turns and lifting and tapping the heel of my uphill ski, or inside ski, whatever you want to call it, and essentially forces you to take your weight off it. And then eventually you would just lift your left foot up, your left ski, and only ski on your one ski. And basically what it does is it forces you to put your weight over that ski. So you're making a bit of an adjustment in your body's not straight up, it's not leaning backwards, it's not leaning in towards the hill. You're actually leaning sort of out over the slope so you can be on top of that ski, but at the same time your hips kind of go towards the slope. So you got a little bit of a banana shape going on. And so that was that was something I just hadn't focused on before. And I knew that I leaned back more probably than I should have. I know for sure I did. So you get onto a steep slope, and I think your natural, thought is to lean back a little bit, try to control your speed, whatever. So I was totally wrong.
Your lesson was for 3 hours, and so I'm assuming you started on some blue, blue, blue runs, and then you probably went on some steep runs.
Yeah, we started on the blue and then worked our way through getting steeper and steeper, and then finally at the end we were going off Cornice. And so there was some other things that we learned. So the next thing was how to control your speed. And what how do you control your speed? Any idea?
Your turns with your edging.
With your edges. That's totally what has always been in my mind. My edges are my control. And she said, "Yeah, look, if you want to go fast, and like if you're a racer or something, you're using all edges." And when you think about it, so when you're using your edges, although you're scraping the snow, think about the fact that there isn't that much surface on the snow. So basically what you do is you don't just use your edges, you actually let your skis set more level on the snow, like with the snow, and the friction from making contact across your ski helps you to slow down. And and then the other thing, as you get used to sort of that concept, um you also let them slide a little bit, right? So you're not only making contact with the snow across that, but you're letting them kind of slide out a little bit. And then the third thing is you complete your turn more than maybe you have in the past. So, I mean, if you think about it, if you kept your turn going long enough, you'd be going uphill. So you could burn off as much speed as you wanted to. And I found that not to be, I mean, you don't come anywhere, at least I didn't come anywhere near that when I was doing it. But yeah, but a couple of concepts that just made, kind of a night and day difference. So when we went down Cornice, which is just, it's a groomed run these days, right? They didn't used to groom it, but it's groomed. It's, I guess, the second steepest groomed run on the place. Um, the other one's over there to the right. I can't think of what it's called, but it's even steeper.
Climax. Is it climax?
Maybe it could be over by, what is it, Chair 23.
I think so.
So anyway, so those were the main concepts. Uh, she also, towards the end, got me thinking about, you should be using your poles. And basically, what your pole does is it's almost like it's more about your brain and just giving you some focus, but you put it out there and you're essentially focused on turning around your pole. So if you plant your right pole, you're turning right around it. Your left pole, you're turning left around it. And when you see like a ski racer or something like that, they're using their poles. And you don't have to plant them hard. You're not pushing off them. You're not doing anything like that. All you're doing is, I guess it's helping, really kind of get your rhythm down and focused on, where you're going.
So after you took the lesson, did it change your technique a lot?
So what happened was that day, I took that lesson and then I had to go. And so I didn't get a chance to do it then. So I ended up going like a week later, um, 2 weeks later, something like that. I just kind of made a bonsai run. My intent was to spend the night. I left the house about 7:30. I got up there at 12:30 and started skiing. I skied till about 4, and I had in my mind what I had been doing because especially when I was following behind her, it kind of set the pace and the turns and everything. And it just was real natural. So then when you're out there doing it on your own, it's a little bit different. And so I went and I just focused on exactly those things, and I ended up being pretty wiped out by the end of it. And I stayed on the steeper runs and really trying to just apply those principles and stuff. And it takes practice, and I'll have to work on it more, next time. I ended up that day I hadn't booked a hotel or anything, and at the end of the day, I had some stuff going on at home and whatnot, so I just ended up coming home. So it was just one of those one day sort of bonsai runs, which I know you've made in the past.
I never taken a ski lesson. So, and when I say that, I mean I never paid for, or my father never paid for a ski lesson. My father taught me how to ski. So, he would take me to the bunny hill and say, okay, snow plow, this is how you snow plow, stop, turn. Then he would leave and he would go up to the bigger runs and come back and check on me. So I never had a lesson with like, a professional or something like that. Do you think I should take a ski lesson?
I mean, I think it would be good. Look, one of the things that I would like to do to take it a little bit further is I really haven't been skiing moguls. And when I went up this time around, um, that last time, I ended up they hadn't groomed the one run that I'm trying to remember what it is. But you and I would go up that run. I thought it was high five, but it wasn't. It was something else, just above McCoy there. And you can either go around the backside or you can go down the face. And so I was going down that face, and they hadn't groomed it, and so it was getting mogully. and and so I was going down that and applying this stuff, and it was great. One of the other things that she talked about was when you first start a run, like a steep run, your transition from wherever you are to that to that run is to let your skis slide. Like start off sort of side slipping and then go into your turn, as opposed to just pointing your skis downhill and diving into it. And that seemed to work really well too. Just a good transition from in that case, you're almost on like it seems like a fire road or something, right? You're on this, you know, not level, but pretty level area, and then you've got this really steep run, and you're like, you know, but once you get over there, side slip down it a little bit, it just gives you a nice transition. Then you start turning, and then you know applying that stuff that I was just talking about made it much easier to do that. So, long story short, I think I will take another lesson. Like I'm going to go up, next year. My goal will be to really apply what I'm doing. Um, go up there and ski Cornice and ski that other steep run, doing that stuff. But then take another lesson and focus on mogul skiing. And not that I want to go do these black moguls and all that kind of stuff, um, but I would like to be able to ski the moguls better. What the heck? And I figure since I'll have the Bionic Man with me at the time, then it'll be a good time to do it.
I've introduced a lot of people to skiing. I'm always talking about give it a try, give it a try. And when I take them up, I always say take a lesson, at least take a group lessons, a 2 hour lesson, and they teach you the basics. And then I'll work with you. Some people don't want to take a lesson at all. So, do you think everybody when they first go skiing, they should take a lesson?
It totally would pay off. They're going to have a lot more fun. a lot faster if they do it. That's my opinion.
Got anything else, Tim, about your ski lesson?
The instructor I had was great. Her name was Karen. She was actually, I think she was British, but she lived in Australia. And, I thought she did a great job.
This is going to be our last podcast for this season. And we look forward to seeing you guys next season. And we'll probably come back to you around late November, something like that, before the season starts. So anyway, you got anything else, Tim?
I think maybe there'll be a hip replacement workout podcast. A recovery workout podcast that probably ought to start in about June, probably.
Tim's referring to I have to have hip replacement surgery. So next month I see the surgeon so we can get the process started. And I'm looking forward to getting that done. So I will be ready for skiing this next ski season. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining us, and I hope to see you next season in November. And Tim, anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, this has been Ski Talk with Tim and Tony. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next season. See ya.